Hello, everyone, and welcome to Going Deeper with Elisa DiLorenzo. We go deeper because marriage was not meant to be lived at the surface. I'm so excited to be digging into this topic today on oils and intimacy. I mean, we know about using oils for massage, but what we're about to learn is going to change so many marriages. Now, I want to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, 7 Days of Sex Challenge, and you can check it out at 7daysofsex.com. Because here's the thing. I know that you can do anything that you set your mind to for 7 days. But what you might be surprised is just how much you can change your marriage when you get intentional. See, when you get intentional about one area of your marriage, the other areas start to experience transformation as well. So make sure you check it out at 7daysofsex.com. And when you use promo code 7days, you're going to get 25% off all of the items that are listed on that page. So now let me introduce you to my guest. She is a young living crown diamond, blessed wife to Jeremy, and homeschool mom of 3, ages 8, 6, and 5. So no excuses to any of you that say, my kids are too young or I'm doing too much. She loves slow mornings, books with the kids, date night, a hike through the woods, or curling up with her journal and a cup of tea. Her days are spent finding the sweet spot between her love of life as wife and mom and her passion for entrepreneurship, natural wellness, the outdoors, leadership, and living a more simple life. And you can check out all that she does at babystepseo.com. So now I want to introduce you to Callie Shepard. Callie, welcome to Going Deeper.
Hey, how's it going? It's good.
It's going so great. I'm so glad to have you on. And I know that everybody's watching really wants to dig into this topic of oils and intimacy. I mean, it's kind of a fun topic, let's be honest.
Absolutely.
But before we get started, I always love just sharing who I'm talking with. And we love getting to know a little bit about your marriage. So how long have you and Jeremy been married?
Yeah, so this year in December, on December 1st, will be 10 years. And yeah, I can't believe it. It's one of those things, it feels like forever, but then at the same time, a decade also seems like we shouldn't be old enough for this. But yeah, it's been great. We had a honeymoon baby, so that was exciting and kind of changed the trajectory of our vision for our marriage pretty soon out of the gate. Sure. But we've learned so much through that, and our 3 kids are amazing. Wouldn't trade the timing on them, but it's been good.
Well, and I love, with your ability to homeschool them and build your business, because you and Jeremy do business together, correct?
We do, yeah. He definitely has his niche, and we try to leverage our definition with who handles what. But yes, we have been learning how to do life, both working from home.
And that's a challenge, and figuring out your niches and playing to each other's strengths. I mean, that's something that Tony and I have had to do as well. And I thank you just for sharing a little bit about who you are and how the two of you do things, because I know, each and every guest that comes on the show has their own unique story. And I love that you do have this passion for natural wellness and the passion for the oils and just what they can do, not just outside of the bedroom, but really inside the bedroom. And that's what we're going to, everybody knows that you can use oils to, cook with and do all that kind of, and flavor your drinks and do all that kind of stuff. But we really want to take the oils from outside the bedroom to inside the bedroom. And I want to just talk with kind of the one that everybody knows about, right? Like we all talk about massage oils. Tony and I have our favorite. We're going to talk about it here in just a minute. But what is it about using oils and touch? What does that do for couples?
Well, for me personally, touch, all about a hug, a touch, a neck rub, a shoulder rub. And I think one thing that's important to remember is that, especially for the ladies, sometimes for affection and nothing sexual. And so there's definitely a place for just doing a back rub that doesn't. Go ahead.
I thought I lost you there for a second. I think, and that's a really powerful point, that you can have intimacy without it being sexual touch. Mm-hmm. And that as couples, we need to have both.
Yes. Yes. And so for us, like on our nightstand, we have, like a ortho sport massage oil, and then we have sensation massage oil. And so sometimes when we're like, that's my love language, I love a back rub. I also struggle with some, back issues. And so like I get a lot of back rubs. And so sometimes he'll ask, okay, so which one do you want? And I can kind of guide where I'm at just based on, well, let's do ortho sport tonight. And he's good with that. And he's willing to work with me on that and, be okay with that, which I really appreciate. But more times than not, it's really fun to say, oh, let's do sensation. And the sensation massage, romantic wonderfulness. And it can start as, for me, it's a huge ministry to me just to have that touch after. But then for that to be able to go somewhere for him is a lot of fun too.
So I brought ours out because we have the sensation too. And if any of you that are watching are interested in checking out sensation oil, you can go to oneextraordinarymarriage.com/sensation because this is an oil that seriously has transformed our marriage. It has a permanent fixture on our nightstand because it's not just the decision, like you said, and I love that you have both oils there because that's really an interesting way to think about it, like incorporating touch, but kind of making a decision. All right, this is going to be more of just the physical, non-sexual touch, or you know what? Okay, I mean, it's really giving Jeremy the red light or the green light if it's a go night.
Yes, and I think guys appreciate that, and we have to have fun ways to communicate where we're led. So yeah, a lot of fun with that. And I think there's just something very powerful about combining touch with something that you smell. When we engage our senses, we create experiences, and to have shared experiences with our spouse through touch, through an aroma, as girly as that powerful, is with aromas, which is a lot of fun. So going back to sensation, because that's such a popular oil and a popular aroma, you can both much more quickly get in the mood when you're on the same page with an aroma like that.
Well, and thank you, because that's a good segue into the fact that oils aren't just for massage, that we can create, you used a word there, you used the word experiences. Yeah, and I was preparing for the show, had been thinking about, create an environment, but that word experiences, I think, encompasses so much more.
Yes.
Because there is so much in the news and the media and whatnot on the power of aromatherapy. And I'm curious as to, what are some ways that a couple can use aromatherapy with the oils, with essential oils, to really create that experience?
Yes, well, that's really what makes them a lot of fun, because they are so versatile. And many people in their diffuse associate with your spouse could be heading there, closing the door and letting that run with something romantic, or with an oil that you both know means something more than just, I want to freshen the air. You can also use the oils in fun ways to tease your spouse with, using them on your person, using them on a love note. Like I said, there's something very powerful and also scientific about the way we're wired and the way our brains were designed to interact with our olfactory gland, and how all of that is tied to our emotions. And so I feel like we can create some really fun experiences. And then also I've seen where the oils have real struggles or emotional challenges that they were experiencing that were creating roadblocks in their marriage and roadblocks with their path to intimacy.
I love the suggestions. Go ahead. Sorry. I thought.
Oh, no, no. Yeah. So many different ways you can use them. If emotional challenges, maybe you're just not there emotionally. You're not ready for intimacy. You're not ready to, maybe there are past wounds and hurts that you're really working through. Just know that you can use the oils in partnership with your desire to move forward, and they can really help to assist into.
Now, are there specific oils? I'll be the first person to raise my hand that there are times when it takes a little bit to get my brain engaged in the process. It's why I love sensation, because it's true. It's like I smell sensation oil and I'm like, bingo, I know what's happening. And we're always talking about different ways to initiate. So I love the idea of, going in maybe an hour before, setting up the oils in the diffuser. He walks in, you're like, okay, that's a go signal. I know what that means. That's a different way to initiate. The oils on the love notes, that's a great way. Are there certain oils that lend themselves to really creating that experience? Are there certain aromas that we as men and women are kind of more triggered? It's kind of like that whole pheromone.
Yes.
What I'm looking. But what are those scents that we should be thinking of?
Yeah, so definitely the more floral aromas. I'm not a huge floral person, but traditionally aromas like Ylang Ylang and rose, jasmine, all of those have historically been used for centuries as ways to initiate, or just as beautifying, and we just always. One thing I love about Young Living is they have taken some of those fragrances and they have blended them with other oils. So you don't necessarily have to be using something that's just overwhelmingly floral.
Right.
There are some other great blends that also incorporate oils that are surprising, and some of those would be like Idaho blue spruce, black pepper. There are some great blends. There's one that's really wonderful for the guys called Shutran. And that one for me, that makes me swoon every time and is just as powerful as a sensation. And so there are some really explore. Joy is a great blend that incorporates all of those kind of flowery scents. A fragrance that you're just not like else, or use it on your ankles, or use it, in a place where you're not having to smell it as much, and that's completely okay too. But find a fragrance that you enjoy, that your spouse enjoys, and then use that consistently. And what you'll do is you'll find that as you create those experiences, those positive experiences with that aroma, your body will more easily warm up. It has a trigger.
And that's such a powerful approach, because so often when couples are struggling with intimacy, they've developed all of these patterns that actually have, kind of a negative cycle, right? That send them backwards, like, oh, this is going to happen. Oh, and literally, even as I'm saying it, I'm moving myself back from the screen. And what I hear you saying is, let's take that and let's reverse that and send everything going forward. Yes. Let's bring in a different scent. Let's create a different experience using the aromatherapy through the oils to say, you know what, this is a go. It's kind of like we were talking about at the beginning with the two different massage oils, right? That you go, okay, wait a minute, this is a yellow light. This is definitely a green light.
Yes.
Right. And so building that, what a tool that couples can use to say, you know what, we don't have to be stuck in these blocks. And it's like, I know for me, I know you guys are not all going to be seeing this, but this is my Young Living release oil. So when I'm feeling like, I'm holding on to the day's list, and I'm holding on to, ladies, I'm sure some of you have done this too, where you lay in bed and you're like, okay, what's on my to-do list? And he's like, babe, come in the moment. And so finding out, and I appreciate, Kelly, what you said about finding out what scents work for you. because what might work for one couple, another couple, you may be like, that one's not working. Because it's one of the wonders of how we're made. We're just wired differently. And as we're, talking about, getting into massage, creating an atmosphere and experience in the bedroom, I do want to talk about, when it comes to oils, then, when I go deeper on a show, it's no holds barred. But so I want to talk about, kind of that dirty little word that nobody wants to talk about, or that situation. And that's, lubrication, right? I mean, it happens. There are days when we're just, not there physically. I mean, it's not just in the mental stuff, it's the physical stuff of, friction is not good. Like, let me.
Yes, nothing will fill the mood like a little bit of dryness, right?
Right.
Yes, and that's one thing I love about what you referenced, the sensation massage oil. The beautiful thing about that oil is it's gentle enough to use as lubrication. And just in terms of people in general are working to move toward a more that's just where we're gravitating. And one place to really be mindful of is our lubrication product. Is what we're using in such a sensitive is safe and natural and not going to mess with us in a way that we don't expect. And so finding a solution for that is toxin-free, chemical-free, I think is huge. But then add to that the oil you to that place more quickly. It is tremendous. So the sensation massage oil is a great place to start with that. You can use it with condoms, without condoms. It's not going to have any type of startling sensation or effect. It's not going to burn. It's not going to be uncomfortable in that regard. Some of the other massage oils have peppermint and some other more strong and hot oils in them. Some people enjoy that, but if you really just want to play it safe, stick with the sensation massage oil. And yes, definitely. If I would say that if a couple is struggling, whether just regardless of the physical factors that play into the discomfort, figure out the lubrication, because that in and of itself could be a tremendous game changer.
Well, I literally just had a coaching call 4 or 5 days ago talking to a wife who, we're talking about just some of the sexual issues that they're having, and, dryness came up, and I said, oh, please, let's solve the lubrication issue.
Yes.
Like, let's just get a handle on this. Don't, like, folks, let me just be really direct with you. If lubrication is an issue, if dryness is an issue, take care of that. There is no shame in using lubrication. There is no shame in saying, you know what, we need a little assistance here. Because let's face it, on the other side of you making the decision to use some form of lubrication, whether it's sensation massage oil or something else that is non-toxic and good for you, so like be really clear about that, is an incredible connection with your spouse. The sooner we get there, the better we're both going to be.
Absolutely.
I have so many people like, I don't want to use that. And I'm like, oh, please, just
build it into the routine. It'll be fine.
Well, and Kelly, that's such a strong point for people to be taken away as they're watching this, is that, and I've heard you say it a few times throughout the show, is that having those routines really does matter, because it helps you to flip that switch to say, okay, you know what, this is time with, my wife, this is time with my husband, this is our time. And if you build it, around the oil routine, going and saying, okay, this oil in the diffuser, these oils by our bed, this for lubrication, this for massage, whatever it is, then all of a sudden it's like you come into the moment equipped.
Yes.
And how powerful is that for couples to, I would think there's a confidence that comes with that.
Yes, absolutely. And I think at times that's what we need, because our priorities are being clamored for in every other possible way. And we all come to the bedroom at the end of the day exhausted. And a lot of times we don't have a lot left to give. And so if we do have those tools that help to make it easier, tools that will send very clear signals, I think it's a win-win all the way around.
To have what they need. I mean, you mentioned you love physical touch. That's your thing, and it lights you up. And having that, and on the back. Right? It's a win. And so many that are watching the show, you have kids, you're establishing kind of what that framework looks like in your family by having healthy intimacy. And, one of the things I did want to talk about with you too is, we've talked about using oils for touch, and we've talked about a little bit about the aromatherapy and the emotional support, but so many folks come to One Extraordinary Marriage and they're like, here's the deal. I have like zero libido. I have no desire for sex. I could take it or I could leave. I mean, I can't tell you in 7.5, almost 8 years of having One Extraordinary, how many emails have said, I have zero to no desire. Are there oil blends, something in the oil world that can help folks that say my libido is in the tank?
Yes, and one thing I love about the oils is that it's wherever you are at on the oil spectrum, like either you love them or you're just kind of checking them out, what you're doing is you're exploring this door and this pathway into natural wellness. And one of the things about the body holistically, we want to look at our emotions, we want to work on lubrication, but at the end of the day, we really want to look at also, why is it that libido is low? Are there different hormones or different things that need to be balanced? Are there things that we could change in our diet that would just help our body is? And I think we're created to work perfectly. Our bodies were created to enjoy intimacy and for it not to be a struggle. Mm-hmm. And if it is, that just, but it's not a hopeless situation. It means we need to discover what it is that needs to change. And so I mentioned things are easily changed. It might be something as simple as incorporating more water into your diet, because we can starve our bodies and we can starve different body systems so that they're not functioning optimally. And so wherever you're at on the libido scale, I would encourage you to do some digging into natural wellness. It may be that you need to seek out a natural doctor or a chiropractor and say, run my blood work. I want to know where I'm at with blood work. I want to, is that something I need to supplement? That's what it was for me. What does my thyroid look like? That's a huge telltale indicator of low libido. Look like the time to do something like that, to have an idea of where to start. And if they're familiar with, that's a beautiful thing, and that would absolutely be a great place to start. Now, I know that's a little overwhelming. You're like, well, I just want to know, like, what can I slap on this to make it better? Mm-hmm. You can definitely start with the oils that I mentioned, but like I said, at the end of the day, if there is something that's out of balance or something that's wrong, we want to get every time, because it's not going to be as great as it could be. Mm-hmm. And I think intimacy is something that is absolutely meant to. A lot of times we don't experience the full extent of what it was designed to be because there are physical limiting factors that come into place. And so let's figure out what those are and work with some. Now, we talk about the physical, but then the emotional is really, really big too. And I know that sometimes people come into a relationship with trauma, with scars, with hurts and wounds from past relationships or things that happened that were out of their to help you move past some of those roadblocks, move past some of the trauma and the grip that those memories have on a person. And that would absolutely be something to explore too. There is a very powerful technique called the Aroma Freedom technique. Some people abbreviate it with AFT, but Google that, look that up. There's a book and it will walk you through some of the steps to take just to move some of the emotional things that can hold us back.
And I'm glad that you brought up a couple of those other things, because I do think a lot of times we're looking for the quick fix, right? Make it easy. Tell me what oil, if it's Ylang Ylang, which folks, if you've never seen that spelled out, it's Ylang, Ylang. It's just a fun word to say, and it looks funny on paper. Can I put an oil on it? And sometimes we need to take responsibility for ourselves.
Yes.
And our role in strengthening the intimacy in our marriages. And if that means, like Callie said, go get the blood work done, right? It's okay. It's a quick blood draw, but if it gives you answers, how much more valuable is that? Or like Callie said, if there's been some emotional stuff that you've been hauling around like a 500-pound weight that's been keeping you from having that intimacy that you desire with your spouse, then it's time. It's time to let that suitcase, to work through it, get equipped to move beyond that, because you said it so powerfully at the beginning. We were designed to have this incredible intimacy with our spouses. And if there's things that are keeping us from that, you owe it first and foremost, folks, to yourselves to experience life to the fullest and start there. Say, you know what, I'm worth it. Right? I'm worth it to be happy and healthy and whole. And with Callie's focus on natural wellness, so much of the work that she does is, it's not just, Callie is not just oils. Like, can I be really clear with you folks? Everything that she does there at babystepseo.com is about the complete package. Literally, I'm sitting down, so, head to toe, you guys know what I'm talking about. But it's this whole idea that you're a whole person. And the intimacy in your relationships stems from you being healthy and whole. And there are so many different ways that you can incorporate the oils. Callie, that's why I'm so glad that we had the chance to talk about this today, because you didn't just touch on, well, this is a great oil for massages, which folks, again, Sensation Oil, whatextraordinarymarriage.com/sensation, like run, or don't walk, to check that out, because I told Tony, I'm like, you know what, we start getting invited to weddings, like we're just going to wrap that up and put a bow on it and just say, you know what, thank us later. Yeah, you first. But, it's not just the ideas that she shared with us. Even if all you took away from this was, oh, I wonder what a couple drops on a card or a note to my husband or my wife would do. You want to start there, right? First of all, everybody texts nowadays, so to actually get a handwritten note will be kind of exciting to your spouse. To get a handwritten note that smells good, that's a keeper, folks. That's a keeper. And, Callie, as we close, I try and always ask my guests, is there one word or phrase that you have as your marriage mantra, something that you and Jeremy just kind of hold on to in the midst of 3 kids and running a business and, taking care of everything that the two of you take care of?
Yes. So this was actually given in the charge of our wedding.
I love that.
And he said, the little foxes are what spoil the vine, meaning can ruin intimacy, ruin a marriage if left unkept. And so we both really try to deal with the little things before they get big, and we don't bury things. And it may be that we need a day or two to be ready to talk.
Mhm.
But I try to work through the little things and not allow them to grow into anything bigger than they need to be. And I would love for you to show them also the Lucy Libido book. That is going to be a wonderful handbook for anyone who wants to know more about how to work oils into their relationship. But yeah, this is a lot of fun, Elisa. Thanks so much for asking me to be a part.
Thank you so much for being here. And folks, I'll actually put a link to the Lucy Libido book because you're going to be like, what was that? What was that title? I'll put it all in the comments. Everything that we've mentioned on the show, I'll make sure it's in the comments for you. But Kelly, thank you for being a guest on the show. Thank you for spending this time with us and for sharing just your passion for seeing people be healthy and whole. And, you know, folks, as we wrap up another episode of Going Deeper with Elise, I just want you to remember that you are completely empowered to make the changes in your intimacy, to take your intimacy to the next level. And, you know, don't forget to take advantage of the show sponsor, the 7daysofsex.com, and use that promo code 7days to get your 25%